Okay. All right. It's a new year. What are we going to do? Hello, Gunner. Welcome, John, Tommy. Let's see who else we got there. Peter was here earlier. Not sure if you're still here. And I don't recognize the name or the language. Sorry why, but glad to have you nevertheless. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting little show today. Everybody wants to do a year-end recap or a crystal ball revelation on the next year, and I guess why would I be different? I think this is our third or fourth year we've been doing this kind of predictions show. And I remember 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, one of my predictions was that Facebook Live, the live streaming part of Facebook that we're using today, would be a terrible flop. It would never catch on. I nailed that one, didn't I? Excuse me. This is not a sponsor. But that's okay. That's okay. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. We're going to get started in just a second. But the 22 questions that you've been wondering about for the year 2022. Spoiler, we may not make it to question 22. Just wanted you to know that in advance. I will mention now, and I'll mention again later, I hope that the link to the Martin Steed Memorial is in the YouTube comments. So if you're watching this after the fact, it's right down there in the comments. If you're watching it now, seems to me I have a graphic somewhere. Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, here we go. This is a Martin, the QR code for the memorial for Martin. Get out of the way of it. And basically what it's kind of like a GoFundMe page, but it points to a charity in London that Martin was a big part of, for for disabled folks, and they loved him and he loved them, and this would be kind of in honor of his memory. So I hope you'll make a donation. Doesn't matter the size of the donation, but I just think it's a kind of a show of support, a show of strength, and those of us that loved him, and even may have only known him online. I mean, I met him in person one time, but was just deeply impressed. Great man. Very, very passionate, very full of love. My kind of guy for sure. Yep. Okay. So that's the QR code that will take you to the website where you can make the donation. There we go. Hello, Jens. Glad to have you. It's been a while. Missed you last week. Figured I would have had you last week for the vMix 25 review show. Hello, Marie. I hope you are well in all of your, this gal, she's breaking legs, she's breaking arms. She got hit in the head with something. Well, that was just, breakfast with Jan. There you go. Oh, Tim just got in and got his key. Actually, Tim, it is the same key you had before. It's just freshened up. We just polished it a little bit. Tim got an update, not an upgrade. He didn't move up in his vMix world, but he got an update so that his license now qualifies for definitely vMix 24 and vMix 25 if you want to play with the new beta. Sorry, I mispronounced that. Beta. The beta. So, yeah. Rough in the Lind household. Yeah, I bet it is. Holy cow. I can't imagine. So yeah, so if you have tried to actually there was an update to vMix 25 within the last 12 hours. So if you have downloaded and installed vMix 25 more than 12 hours ago, go back and get the update. I think the current version is 25.0.0.12. The original release to the general public was .10. So we're up to .12 now. And it fixed a problem with the install. Some people, I think Tommy, you may have been one of them, wasn't able to install it, at least not without jumping through some hoops. And I think they've fixed that. So they've got a couple other fixes on that too. Let's see if we can find out what they are. The joys of the internet. My brother lives in Virginia, and I was supposed to go visit him this weekend, but he has been without power for 2 days, and the temperature has been low, like in the teens and 20s Fahrenheit. Yeah, let's see. All right, the vMix 25 fixed an error on startup when installing vMix 25 on a PC for the first time. I didn't even notice this, but the category buttons didn't show up properly in the input settings. And some of the preset bundles didn't include all of the files, so they fixed that. And they fixed the preset bundle not including the PowerPoint files, and also a check for keyframe frequency in the SRT settings to ensure a minimum of 1 second is entered. And they also fixed the Sony Visca over IP tally for some cameras. So you can get the latest, greatest in the vMix forum. That's forums, plural, forums.vmix.com. In the general discussion section, there's a vMix 25 thread. And the very first post in that thread has the link to the current version vMix 25. So if you've downloaded it before, you can just go to that very first post and download it again. Apparently they just keep updating that link instead of posting a new link to a different beta version. It probably is a little easier that way. So Tim said, yeah, he needed the update to try the beta. Okay, well, that makes sense. You know, the beta, it's interesting. When vMix was releasing, at one point they were releasing a version, 2 versions a year. And it just happened to work out that way. And there would be a major version and then kind of a minor version. But it has been that they have only... Somebody didn't turn off their phone. That was me. Let's see if we can bring that volume all the way down. We'll do that in just a second. So, somebody didn't turn off their phone. He's going to turn it off in just a second. He promises. So yeah. But version 25 would be what I would consider sort of a minor update. It doesn't have a striking feature, although I really love the LiveLan feature. A lot of people are not going to have a use for it. Tim said it thought Skype was running, so I clicked do it anyway, and the beta installed fine. Yeah, you know, be careful about that. Sometimes Skype, number one, will run in the background. And vMix is pretty particular. It likes to be the only game in town when it comes to installs and programs running. So sometimes we have things running in the background we don't know about. Want to be careful for that. And I'm not a big fan of doing the install, the update from inside vMix. I like closing vMix, downloading it, manual install it myself. So there you go. Hey, Otis is here. All right, we can get started. Let's go. Let's get started and see if we can make a show of this. What do you think? Can we do it? Can we do it? Where is my... Oh, yeah, there we go. Right there. All right. This might just work. Hooray, it worked. Yay. Why does he sound surprised? Yeah, I'm surprised because that's just the way it happens to work sometimes. Oh, my phone has got a little alarm that says Streaming Idiots is starting now. You can't really see it, but it's there. But that's good. That's nice to have things like that behaving. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to forget the show. Welcome. So glad you're here. It's 2022, 2022. I remember when I was a kid thinking, boy, the year 2000, I'm going to be really old. Well, 2022, I'm even older. Holy cow. I feel like 2022 is going to be a year. And here's the scenario. And this is all made up now. So don't say, "Oh my God, did you hear about Tom?" I feel like I have been someone that was falsely accused, tried in front of a jury in a trial with a judge, and sentenced to jail for the last 2 years. And just recently, I've got word that my appeal has been heard and I'm going to be released from jail soon. I think. That's what I feel like. Knowing that this latest version of COVID is zipping through the whole world. The U.S. had supposedly 1 million, probably twice as many, 1 million cases identified yesterday. And so that may mean that everybody gets natural immunity by the time NAB happens in April. Woohoo! Had a couple questions about that. My plan is to go to NAB. If vMix is there, great. I'll be with them if they'll let me. If vMix is not there, I'm going to hang out and have a good time and see lots of cool stuff. Assuming that NAB happens and that I can make it. If you're planning on going to NAB and you're looking for tickets to the trade show, I would suggest holding out. Don't buy anything yet, because a lot of the companies that buy booth space at NAB get a allotment of tickets, and a lot of them will just give their tickets away. Some of them, are a little stingier, but some of them, I think, depending on the size of their booth, get tons and tons of tickets. So I know in the past, Magewell has been giving away tickets. PTZ Optics has given away tickets. vMix has given away tickets. And there may be some others that I'm missing. So if you're thinking about getting a ticket, hold off just a little bit, and let's see if we can't, find some coupon codes for you to get in and not have to pay, what was it, $100, $125, something like that. Not a lot, gobs of value for the money for that. That's for sure. Oh, Jan is here. Okay, we can officially get started now. Oh, John said that in 2021, I was going to change the name from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. I think you're right. You know what? I was in jail. What can I say? Not really. Actually, I'm a little overexposed. Don't you feel like that sometimes, just in regular life? Anyway, okay. So here's the deal. I sat down and I thought I could do a prediction show for 2022, or I could do a retrospective show for 2021. But who the heck wants to go back and look at 2021 again? Although I will, just a tad. So I said, okay, let's look forward to 2022. And the way I want to do that is by posing a series of questions, and that'll kind of guide us in how we go. So the first one, let me get to I've got all these new categories in vMix. I'm only using two new ones, but I've got a bunch of ones that I've got planned. And I've been playing around a little bit with GT Title Designer. So this is pretty crude, but let's give it a shot. Let's see if it'll work. There it is. As many of you already know, Bird Dog from Australia went public a week, 10 days ago, something like that. Congratulations to Eamon and Dan and all of that crew. Really, really proud of you. Kudos, great job. And sometimes that kind of thing is infectious. like a virus. And other people could be out there saying, hey, maybe we ought to go public too. Could 2022 be the year that PTZ Optics and the holding company behind it decide to go public? It's been a closely held corporation in the past. Could their success with the PTZ cameras cause them to go public? I want in on that deal. Paul, call me. Call me. I want a piece of that action. I do. Boom. When will Microsoft buy vMix? Funny story. 2017, I believe. I was at NAB, and vMix had invited me to come work with them and wear a vMix shirt at their booth that week. And so I was there, and I was the low man on the totem pole, so everybody else went to lunch. Tom, you kind of hold down the fort while we go to lunch and do whatever they were going to do. Holy cow, what a crazy group. And so I was holding down the fort at lunch, and there weren't a lot of people there. And this little short, squat guy kind of walks up to me, and I say short and squat in the most endearing way. And I looked at his name badge, and it was, somebody with Microsoft. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I'd like to talk to somebody with Microsoft. Well, he looked at my name tag, and my name tag said blah, 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 Sinclair. Well, the developer of vMix, Martin Sinclair, and I are long-lost cousins, 19th cousins, I think, something like that. I don't know. Who knows about that for sure? But he may have mistaken me for Martin. We don't look alike. We're not the same age. Our voices don't sound the same. Well, it's a tip. That should tip you off if nothing else does. I'm not Australian. Although I do have Scottish background, but it's not the same thing. And I guess maybe he thought I was Martin. And his opening line was, why haven't we purchased your company yet? Not exactly the way you would think most conversations would start. So certainly the first time it had ever started a conversation that I was in, and I was feeling kind of bold and brash and full of myself. Typical, huh? And I said, well, it's because you can't afford us. And we both got a good laugh out of that, and talked a little bit about that. And I mentioned that to Martin and Tim later, and they say, oh yeah, they ask us that question all the time. Somebody always wants to buy us, whether it's Google or Facebook or YouTube or, Microsoft. So when will Microsoft buy vMix? I will say it will be a cold day in hell before vMix is sold, because if you sell a company like vMix, you're selling the shell, because you can't buy the heart. And vMix has got heart. The company has got heart. And that's what I think separates it from so many other companies, not necessarily competitors, but companies in general, but also from similarly positioned software offerings. They don't have heart. vMix has heart. When will Microsoft buy vMix? Never. 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 Okay, we're getting a little full of myself here. All right, let's see. Question number 3. How young can you be to live stream? Well, now when I say live stream, I mean actually be in front of the camera or run the production. And the answer to that question is, well, I don't know. I've worked with 5th and 6th graders, so that's going to be 10 and 11-year-olds, maybe 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. And in fact, we built a studio for a local school intended for kids that age. And I was talking with one of the teachers last year, not just a couple of weeks ago. And they said they're getting ready to start a curriculum where they're bringing 3rd and 4th graders in to begin to teach them how to do this and let them give it a try. So that's going to be 8 and 9-year-olds, maybe 7-year-olds. No, it couldn't be 7-year-olds. Have to be 8 and 9. But how young can you be to live stream? You can be pretty darn young. And you can be successful. And the key, if you're a youngster, if you're a 10-year-old right now watching this program, there's something wrong with you. You need to find something else to watch. The only 11-year-old I know that might watch this program is my grandson. Shout out to Parker and to Carter at this point. Yeah. The only thing you need really is somebody to help you along with it. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. Sometimes the questions are hard to articulate the question, so it's hard to find the answer. But how young can you be to live stream? You can be pretty darn young. Yeah, you can. And if you're young and you want to live stream, go for it. You know, you can pick up your phone or your parents' phone and live stream with it. Okay. Let's see. Looks like we put in question number 4 twice and we didn't put in a question number 3. Let me fix that really quickly because I've already skipped question number 3. There it is. Oh, well, question number 3 was the same as question number 4. Oh my gosh, how did I do that? I probably forgot a question. All right, well, let's skip over to question number 5. Question number 5 is, who will be the first to invent a mini NDI PTZ? And by mini, I mean, oh golly, come on, Tom. Find something here like this big. You know, on kind of like the little Marshall box cam, except a PTZ. Little teeny motors, little teeny pan, little teeny tilt, little teeny zoom. Hey, Ken, glad to have you. If you can't make it on here, make it here on time. Just, come when you can. Ken has got one of my super duper portable cases. I hope that's going well for you, Ken. So think how cool it would be to have a mini NDI PTZ, especially if it was wireless and battery operated and had a magnet in the bottom of it. You could put that sucker anywhere and connect it up and control it. It would be along the lines of a drone camera. That it would have a gimbal of some type, maybe a gimbal rather than the traditional pan tilt, and it would allow you to zoom, and it would be battery powered, and have some sort of Wi-Fi connection. Now it could be a proprietary. Can you do that? Can you make your own channel? Can you just pick out a frequency and use it as long as it's, short range? Excuse me just a second. This is not a sponsorship. So think how cool it would be to have a mini PTZ that you could put anywhere. And the bar would have to be set pretty high. Number one, it would have to be NDI. Number 2, it would have to be at least HD resolution, if not 4K. It would have to be capable of at least 60 frames a second, if not more. Think how cool it would be to have a little camera like that anywhere, a basketball game, on the dashboard of a racing car, you know, mounted inside the helmet of a football player. That probably is a little extreme, but okay. Jan says a Mevo with an RC remote control and servos. Yeah, build it. Build it. The key is going to be that it's going to have to be small. In my mind, it's black in color. It is not connected by any wires anywhere. A jet ski, exactly. It would have to have pretty good range for that, Rich. And it would have to be waterproof. Now, that might be a bridge too far. Although, with the way you operate with your equipment, it's only good for a year anyway, because the salt just chews it up. So we want a Mini NDI PTZ camera. And you don't have to do it by April by NAB. You can have the whole year to develop it. But let's put that together. Can somebody, some brain, some engineer somewhere, put something like that together? Yeah. Matthew, you think you could handle that one? I bet you could. Be great for churches and around instruments, says John. Exactly. Marie says, Tom, you take that back. He doesn't have time. Well, don't take time away from your lovely wife. For sure. Peter says he uses a USB extender with OBS and goes out with NDI for 3-1 note. Well, there you go. I want something this big. Something that that's small enough I can get my fingers around it. That's just not that I want to squeeze it. It's just that I want to give you an idea of the size. Needs to be I guess it could be a digital zoom, because it might be tricky to get an optical zoom in something that small. So that's what I want to see in 2022. Somebody invent a Mini NDI PTZ. Hey, I would be okay if it was NDI HX. It wouldn't have to be full NDI, although, the Bird Dog guys have gotten like an extra $100 million in funding. Here's an idea for you. Spend some of that money like that. Okay. Let's go on to number 6, shall we? Bing. Who will topple YouTube? Will YouTube be toppled in 2022? What do you think? There's been a lot of criticism, and you may have heard it, you may have said it. There's been a lot of criticism, and this is not just YouTube. Oops, sorry, trying to get the chair adjusted here. But a lot of the social media platforms and it depends on which side of the argument you're on, but we would call it censorship. Is YouTube a public space? Is Facebook a public space? Is Twitter a public space? Will there be USA and perhaps other countries get into some legislation to make laws that restrict how they can operate? I might argue that YouTube is indeed a public space. It's like if somebody wants to stand on their front porch and speak their mind, this is like standing on YouTube's front porch. Yeah, except YouTube's got every front porch in the neighborhood. Anyway, something to think about. It's going to be interesting to see if we get some Facebook has been begging for it. Please, or at least they say they have. Please, somebody give us some guidance in what we can do and what we can't do, what we can say and what we can't say. I haven't heard that from Twitter. Twitter's not coming out and saying, please, somebody make up some rules for me to follow. They're following their own. And we're seeing a lot of spinoffs. Seeing spinoffs of Twitter, seeing spinoffs of YouTube, spinoffs of Facebook. Most of them don't make it, and we'll have to see. And in some ways, it's kind of like my knowledge, which is very limited, but my knowledge of the French Revolution is that the French Revolution wasn't just, oh, let's go have a revolution. There were numerous attempts to start a revolution, and all but one of them failed. And so I think we may see something like that in the social media. There may be, finally a social media venture that is able to rise up. Maybe it's a unique way of looking at social media, like something like, well, I would say Instagram or TicTok has come in and done little things, but they're not unique. It's just a better mousetrap. Somebody else is going to come up with a not just a better mousetrap, but a way to teleport mice from inside your walls to Siberia. Poor Siberia. Okay, so yeah, is somebody out there that's working on something in their attic, in their garage, in their back room? Marie, it's probably Jan. But we will see. Will somebody topple YouTube? Or will YouTube just get top heavy and fall over? I think that's happening to some degree already. We can talk some more about that at another time. Here's one. This is funny. As I was looking up this, I found out, when will TikTok embrace live streaming? TikTok is, sweeping the country. If you're younger than 15 or 22 or whatever, you know all about it. If you're my age, it's something you just sort of stumbled on. Where did this come from? And actually, TikTok did release limited live streaming last year, 2021, in December. So if you're a big TikTok user, you might want to look into that and see if you can't get access to it. They have allowed it to a limited number of their users, and could be pretty big. Of course, you have to use their app. It's going to be a lockdown, closed system. But we might find, just like Instagram, live Instagram was a lockdown, closed system. 20 minutes after it was made available, people had hacked it and figured out how to get vMix into it and all that stuff. John says, MySpace. John, that's awesome. MySpace. I love it. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to see, that has been kind of a trend. Twitter came on the line and then allowed live streaming to it and Periscope. And of course, Periscope disappeared. And what was there? Meerkat that was out there at one time, and it sort of disappeared, got absorbed somewhere else. And Instagram is doing live streaming. Facebook is doing live streaming. Of course, YouTube is live streaming. And maybe these, Twitter and Instagram and TikToks are going to begin to nibble away at the edges of YouTube and now Facebook Live, because I think YouTube and Facebook Live are just clearly the giants. But even giants get taken down every now and then. Ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers about their experience with the New Orleans Saints this year. Talk about giants being torn down. Yeah. Yes, happy birthday to you, Chris. So will TikTok embrace live streaming? Yes, it already has. You haven't found it yet, but it's found you. On the same vein, will LinkedIn open live streaming? Now, they have a beta program. LinkedIn has had a live streaming beta program, I think, for about 14 years. I'm teasing. No, they've had a beta program. Seems to me it's at least 2 years. It could be longer. I've got several friends, colleagues that applied to become part of it. and I put my application in, and they've replied immediately, yes, we're gonna review your credentials, and we'll get back to you. And that was about a year ago. Welcome, Chris. We're glad to have you. Chris has caught up with me again. He's 45. Thank goodness. So we will see if LinkedIn decides to get their act together. You know, their question is, do we want to be a live streaming company? And I think their answer is yes, because they've already carved out I won't say it's a unique niche, but I think it's a very solid niche of the business world. People that do business with other businesses, people that are looking for employment in businesses, businesses that are trying to promote themselves and grow their business. LinkedIn is the business network. It's like Facebook, but for business people. Now, lots of people use Facebook for marketing, but you notice that a lot of that is B to C. The letter B, the word to, T-O, C for consumer, business to consumer. A lot of Facebook is business to consumer. A lot of YouTube is business to consumer. But you'll notice LinkedIn is a lot of business to business. And I'm always amazed at how much of a response. I'll make the same post to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube Notes, or whatever it is, and to LinkedIn. Did you hear that? I heard that. That's the plumbing here, by the way. I'll have to talk to the landlord about that. It's not supposed to happen during the live stream. I think LinkedIn is uniquely qualified. Well, they may not be qualified at all, but they're uniquely positioned to enter and dominate the live stream business market. And they have been, I think, sort of behind the scenes, fumbling and bumbling about trying to get it figured out. I've talked to some folks that have had conversations with them, and that they either appear incompetent, ignorant, or downright just, what's the right word for it? Hang on, the word's going to come to me just a second. Grumpy. That's not the right word, but it's as close as I can get to. Just, yeah. And they're going to need to change that attitude. I don't know if that's a corporate environment kind of attitude or not, but they need to get into the mode of live stream helps you, live stream helps me, live stream is good for everybody. Live stream will help you do what you do better. And I don't think they get that yet. So LinkedIn, if you're watching, you should be. No, you shouldn't. You don't even bother to watch us. We're too small, but that's okay. But that doesn't mean we're not right. Just because we're small and obscure doesn't mean that we're not right. But get your act together. Go do live streaming. You can compete with Google. You can compete with Google YouTube. You can compete with Meta. You can compete with Facebook Meta. Yep, you can, because you have a unique position. Yep, okay, enough of that. Let's take that one off. That was number 8. So let's go to we are not going to make it through all of these. Here's number 9. Okay, this is going to be a fun one. All right. Who will embrace vMix 25 LiveLan in 2022? All right. If you just came out from under a rock, if you just wandered in out of the desert, vMix 25 is in beta, version 25.0.0. 0.12 just came out yesterday, last night. But the beta's been out for, what, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. We used it last week on our show. We're using it again today. I think I still have the .10 version. One of the big features in there is something called LiveLan. Now, this is not a super major beta release of vMix 25. It's what I would call kind of a smorgasbord release. That is, there's this feature and this feature and this feature and this feature, and one of those features is going to appeal to you. You know, it's got turkey and ham and bacon and steak, and, you know, at least one of those will appeal to you meat eaters like me. But LiveLan is the ability to stream, shall we use that word, to live stream your video on your own local area network to browser-enabled devices. So if you have a network like a school, I can't wait to try it at the school over here, and we can just blitz their network, probably saturate it, but can't be any worse than what they're doing already, and essentially stream to anything that has a browser. Browser goes to, you know, 192.168.1.80 :8088/LiveLan. That's what it would be here, my local area network. About a 6 to 10 second latency. So it's not going to work for, you know, those of you that need something instantaneous, but it's going to be great for a school situation, for where it's going to be one to many. It would be great in an overflow situation, thinking about a church for a wedding or a funeral or something special happening where you can't get all the people in there. So you run an Ethernet cable over to a smart TV in the fellowship hall, and tune into that URL, and boom, there you go. But there are going to be some other people that are going to embrace it. And I think that we'll find there are going to be some really obscure uses, but I can see them already. I can see where somebody says, okay, we want to put, you know, they may be a church, they may be a doctor's office, they may be the local power company, but they want to put a TV in the lobby and they want to run video on the TV. And it's going to be, for those people that already have a live streaming studio of some kind, it's going to be a piece of cake. Just run an Ethernet cable to it and plug it in plug the TV in the wall to get power, fire up the browser, put it on that channel, that URL, and boom, away you go. And just 24/7 is rolling the message through to anybody that's watching. You could do the same thing on a billboard, except it wouldn't be a local area network, most likely. I guess you could use a VLAN. Anyway, so I could see it used for announcements, for signage, for, you know, for small scale kind of in-house promotion, where you've got, you know, the public involved. I could see it in, well, I was thinking, you know, could I see it in a sporting situation? You know, think about a basketball or a hockey rink, a venue where you've got a concession stand that can't see what's going on. You know, can you live stream it there using this? You could, but the 6 second latency, that means you're going to hear the crowd cheer, and then 6 seconds later, while you're getting your hot dog, you can see what they cheered about. That probably wouldn't work. I probably wouldn't do it that way. But Dave said LiveLan is an okay feature, but will not be in high demand nor widely used with our customer base. And Dave's customer base is just that. It's mostly sporting type folks. But within the school itself, Dave, you know, maybe not the live stream of the football game, but the Monday morning announcements might be the real bomb right there. At least I think so. We'll see. Who else will embrace LiveLan? I'm curious to see, because I know it's going to be one of these situations where we're going to hear Martin Sinclair a year from now, or maybe 2 years from now, or maybe 2 months from now, say, you know, we created this feature and we thought these kind of people would use it, but really it's turning out these other kind of people are using it too, and they're using it in ways that we never imagined. So I am expecting that down the road. And just like vMix Social and vMix Call, those are the two that come right to my mind off the top, and vMix's implementation of NDI, all of those were done by vMix, by Martin Sinclair, and they came out and people were like, okay, that's cool. You know, it's nice to have vMix Social. It's nice to have vMix Call. It's nice to have this other stuff. But then all of a sudden social media just blasted off, and vMix Social was right there, already ready. You know, we had this horrible pandemic where everything is being shut down, and suddenly everybody that was doing stuff in real life is now doing it virtually, and vMix Call was the right tool for the job. Did he anticipate the pandemic? I don't think so. But I think he anticipated the need to communicate to you know, everybody was trying to bring Skype or Zoom into vMix, and why not just make it something that's already inside of vMix? I think LiveLan is going to be one of those that all of a sudden, after a period of time, it has to be released officially first, but after a period of time, boom, it's going to catch on and it's going to be the thing. And again, Martin will have been, you know, 1, 2, maybe 5 years ahead of the world in thinking about this. But okay, I'll stop preaching now. We've only got 10. We'll do just a couple more. We're not going to make it to 22. Let's try this one. Will 2022 see NDI 6? What would NDI 6 have in it? Holy cow, NDI 5 now allows us to go beyond our local area network to the whole wide world. NDI 6, it's going to be is it inter or intra? I think it's intergalactic. I think that's the word I'm searching for. NDI 6 will be from planet to planet. We'll include moons in that too. What could they possibly do with NDI that hasn't already been done? Well, they could polish up a little bit on the PTZ controls. I would like that. I would like vMix to be able to use NDI PTZ controls to control the NDI PTZ cameras. So NDI, new tech, if you're listening, VizRT, Dr. Cross, give that one just a few minutes. I'm sure you could solve it with a pen and a napkin in 10 minutes, and we would be sorry. I looked up to the chat, and Dave Edwards is saying NDI 6 will be a fully working version of NDI 5. You, sir, are a bad, bad man. That's all I'm going to say. And well, no, I'll say a little bit more. And if there was ever anyone that deserved to walk around in a banana suit, it's you. We have a picture of that somewhere. Okay, NDI 6. Won't go there. Won't stay there. Let's see. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Could this be the one we end on? Let's see. Yes, we're going to end with this one. Dave, what will be in vMix 26? Now, vMix 26 will not be like vMix 20, like NDI 6. Keeping in mind that vMix 25 is a perfect square. 5 times 5 is 25. It's a perfect square. NDI 6 is not a perfect square. It's not a perfect cube even. It'd have to be NDI 8 to be a perfect cube. But vMix 26 is going to be interesting because it's going to be twice 13. So could it be double bad luck? Should vMix skip 26 altogether and just go straight to 27? Or should they adopt a different numbering system and abandon the 26, 27, 28 altogether and go to they'll go to the Greek alphabet. It might be a little confusing with alpha and beta versions of software, and they could just skip alpha and beta. Well, they could start at the very end. They could have vMix Zeta, vMix Z, and then work backwards in the alphabet. It would be unique. No one else would do that. I think that's just weird enough that they could embrace it. They could embrace it. They won't, because it's on this show, and they'll say, damn, I wish I thought of that. Now that Tom said it, we can't do it. vMix Omicron. John, that's low-hanging fruit. I wasn't going to say that one. John's in the chat saying vMix Omicron. Omicron or Omicron? Whatever. So vMix 26, what's going to be in vMix 26? Well, I think we're big for a, Tim says 13, 2 wrongs make a right. It cancels out, no problem. vMix 26, I think we're due for a big feature. I think we're due for a vMix call type feature, a NDI. You know, vMix was the first company outside of New Tech to incorporate NDI. Martin Sinclair was already working on an NDI version of his own when he got wind that New Tech was doing it, and he was like, phew, now I don't have to do it. What a nightmare would that be to keep up with? So he just, basically, they gave him everything he needed, and he put it into vMix. Is that guy ahead of the game? So vMix 26 is going to have a feature that we are going to say, that's genius, that we can't conceive of right now. Is the bar high on that one? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But has there ever been in history someone so uniquely qualified to do this? I mean, the vMix guys have changed the way live streaming works. They have fundamentally changed it, because it used to be, if you did it at all, it was a hardware-based system. And they've said, we are committed. They even started a hardware division at one point, and they said, nope, that's not who we are. We are software. We're going to do this all in software, and we're going to swing the whole wagon around behind us. And yeah, there were others out there that did the same thing, but I don't think they have had the impact on the software switching concept that vMix has had. In fact, one of vMix's closest competitors, was just announcing some new feature that vMix has had for 2 years. They finally got around to thinking it was worthwhile to put it in for their users. But yeah, vMix 26, the bar is high. Expectations are out of this world. And Tim says, please, not virtual reality. Ed says, no pressure, Martin, no pressure. Yeah, Tim says, Windows went from 98 to 7. There you go. So maybe it'll be, but he can't go from vMix 26 to vMix 22. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's got to be something else. It's got to be, vMix A7, vMix Z14, something like that. Yep. All right, well, let's wrap this up. We're way over time. We didn't make it to 22. Doggone it. I'll have some more next year. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. We only need like a couple of dozen more subscribers to hit 7,000. Holy cow. Yeah, we'd love it. So if you're watching this and you ask your grandmother to subscribe. I'm not desperate or anything. No. Okay, stick around. We'll go to the post show. And who was it? Was it John that was asking about this? We'll see. Hold on. Let's see will this work? Okay, we're back. There we go. Had to find this comment. John says, I hope his closing screen was updated for a 2022 copyright notice. Did you notice? It was. It wasn't anything I did. Hat tip to Martin K at Zen Video in Manchester for doing that. Thank you, Martin. I have an email from you that I apologize I haven't read. I've got, oh yeah, let's don't even go there. It's been a mess. 2021 was an absolutely awesome year for our little company. 2020 was an awesome year. I don't have the totals yet for 2021, but just based on how busy we were, it had to be amazing. 2022 has already started out overwhelmingly. So yeah, Eastern Shore Broadcasting we're riding the wave. Yes, indeedy, riding the wave. Okay, let me get back up where I can see the tweets of the moment. What do we got here? We got Ed. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. John says, Tom? But again, it wasn't me. It was Martin. All right, let's see what Mike's got to say. Looking forward to learning about how NDI 5 might help my workflow and or open up new opportunities, workflows. Of the features announced for vMix 25, I personally don't see any wows yet. Mike, I agree. If I were a live streaming production company, I don't think vMix 25 had, at least at first glance, has a whole lot. The fact that vMix 25 incorporates NDI, the basic kind of under the hood changes in NDI that allows it to go from a local area network now to anywhere in the world, I think it's going to be interesting to see how that gets implemented in vMix. And, you know, that's going to mean that you're going to be able to bring in, you know, kind of a la SRT, you're going to be able to bring in NDI sources from all over, from, you know, the next town, the next city, the next country. And so I think there's going to be some flexibility for you there that at this point, you know, you know, SRT is a little confusing. Sometimes it doesn't always work. You know, I think the NDI, what is it, bridge? Anyway, I have to look into it myself to know. But yeah, I think you're going to find that they're not going to be shattering, but there are going to be some goodies there. I mean, the categories alone, being able to use more than 8 categories. You know, maybe you don't use categories, but as a regular live streamer, you know, I embrace more categories. I'd like to have icons with my categories, but that's okay. That's okay. So I agree, Tim. So Windows went from 98 to 7, and then from 7 to 8, and then from 8 to 8.1, and then from 8.1 to 10. And now we have this really mega jump in thought process, and we've gone from 10 to 11. That's okay. Not everything can be earth-shaking. Some things can be kind of normal, can be kind of regular, you know, kind of like we can expect it. It fits. It is what comes next. Yeah. All right, let's see what Chris has got. LiveLan, can that broadcast, or is it computer to computer, i.e. hundreds of seconds of pay-per-view viewers? No, it's intended only within the local area network that your production PC is on. So here in my studio, I've got this PC, I've got an 8-port switch. One of those ports is internet, one of those ports is this computer. So I've got eight other ports that I can plug computers into and live stream this show directly to those computers. Anything that's got a browser that's connected to this local area network by Wi-Fi, I can I can put that in, but it's not intended as a as broadcasting in that sense. You know, LiveLan wouldn't go to YouTube. LiveLan wouldn't go to Facebook. LiveLan is only a local type broadcasting because it uses the browser and it uses your local connection and it stays local. So that's, you know, that's kind of different. And I think it's kind of unique, and it, in some ways, it's kind of what NDI allows when you have an NDI source like vMix here on my production PC, where the output of this system is an NDI source. So any other local area, any other device on my network, any other PC actually on my network can bring in the output from this PC into that PC and use it as a resource. So, you know, on my laptop, I can pull up Studio Monitor, NDI Studio Monitor, and pull up the output stream from this show on my local area network. Now with NDI 5, you know, supposedly those kinds of resources are available outside of your local area network, but traditionally it had been inside the local area network. And NDI, although it tended not to do it well, it could do kind of a one-to-many inside the same local area network with one production PC and then a lot of viewers. But NDI in its full strength, not NDI-HX, but NDI could be 100 megabits per second. So if you got 30 classrooms watching this video and each one of them gets 100 megabits per second, that's, you know, 3,000 megabits per second of bandwidth that you're chewing up in your network, which would probably crash some networks. The beauty of vMix LiveLan is that the output from the production PC is whatever you determine it to be. Last week when I did it, I said, okay, we're gonna stream on the network at the same resolution, same frame rate, same bit rate that we use in our regular production, which is 1080p, 60 frames a second. I think this one is 6 megabits per second. I'd have to double check and make sure I'm right on that one. 6 megabits per second. No, 5 megabits per second. Sorry about that. 5 megabits per second. So, so I've got Facebook at 5, YouTube at 5, and then local LAN at 5. Am I doing local LAN today? I don't remember if I am or not. Boy, let's check. Yep, I am doing live LAN today. Let's stop that one. No sense in doing that. But I was doing all that and recording at, you know, 28% CPU use. But it's a CPU I built. So there's that. And if you're looking for CPUs, it was a PC I built. If you're looking for PCs for live streaming in the US, call me. I can hook you up with the good stuff. The good stuff. So there we go. Chris, I kind of bombed you on that one, but yeah, that's the deal on LiveLan. Let's see what Marie has to say. She's always has such good insight. With how vMix got run over due to the pandemic, they might not have had time to come up with a new golden goose egg. Well, that's true. You know, when you say, okay, well, you know, we get 100 emails a day. Phew, that's a lot of emails. But they were geared up to handle them, and, you know, they were just knocking them out right and left. And all of a sudden, that 100 went up to 1,000 a day. Can you imagine getting 1,000 emails a day? Holy cow, that's 7,000 emails a week, 30,000 emails a month. Jeez. No, thank you. Wouldn't work. So yeah, that's why vMix 25 is so late in coming out, is because it's taken them so long to take care of all of the needs of the people that were buying vMix at the moment, that they couldn't look forward. They just had to handle the immediacy of the need. So I am surprised that they've come up with as much as they've come up with, frankly. So There we go. Aris, is there a different amount of delay from different continents? Yes. Yes. And depending on what it is that you're, that you're using for the sending and receiving. If, for example, you're sending, if you're using SRT, secure reliable transport, to send a video feed from one place to another, whether it's across the street or on the other side of the world, you can determine the amount of delay, or what they call latency, so that everything arrives and there are no drops or losses. If it's NDI 5, well, I don't know. That's so fresh out there. I haven't had any personal experience with it. And I haven't heard much one way or the other. If it's LiveLan, no, it's you're not doing LiveLan between continents. If it's vMix Call, which uses WebRTC under the hood, you might get 250 millisecond latency to a city 50 miles away, and 50 milliseconds latency to a city 2,000 miles away. It just all depends on the from point A to point B, how it all works. So, good question though. Yep, not a Mac guy. That is my favorite question. I used to try to always ask that question on the vMix Funtime show, the vMix Funtime live show that the vMix guys did once a month, just so that it would, number one, preclude somebody else from asking it. Number two, the fact that I was asking it, always kind of gave them, I think, a little bit of a chuckle. vMix will go on Mac OS when vMix is owned by Microsoft, which is probably never. Yeah, probably never. Tommy says he agrees with Marie. vMix is not here for bells and whistles. It is user-friendly production. I'm glad vMix is what it is. Yep, me too, Tommy. I agree. John is with vMix LAN. vMix acts as a web server at point 8088. That's right. And it's vMix LiveLan. LiveLan. Don't forget the live part of LiveLan. LiveLan. Let's see. Would I show you how to connect vMix and Zoom? Yes, sure. Go to Google and, go to YouTube and do a search on YouTube for vMix Zoom. I've got at least 4 videos that I've done on how to connect those in various ways for various reasons, connecting Zoom or Skype or other kinds of things. The audio is the hardest, no doubt. The audio is the hardest. And sometimes you just have to take it on faith and try it. Chris, if you have to ask. No. Basically, it's the way that vMix uses the syntax for the URL that you would share with somebody else on your same local area network would specify a port 8088. And that is the port, or think of it like a highway number. That's the highway that vMix would use to send the LiveLan information on. So, yeah. Yeah. All right, Ed says, no lag, encrypted stream with LiveLan FTW. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, are you saying you've done this, or are you saying you'd like it? I think the very nature of the tools used to produce the LiveLan feed, that is the browser and the network, require that it have some latency with it. Right you are. Martin came out with vMix call after Skype maybe is on to a better application than Direct 3D. That's possible. That's possible. That could be the next big gun coming out. And Peter has used vMix and NDI bridge on the same converter, converting 5 megabits per second with HEVC. That's good. That's heavy duty on the PC too. Sky says, it's a shame, would love to have see vMix performance on an M1 Max 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, 32 gigabyte unified memory. Well, you can see vMix on a 18-core, 36-thread, 128 gigabyte memory PC if you want. We'll be building one in the next week or two. Yep. Fusion Plus Network, always having audio issue with my vMix and my UMC 404 HD, which is a Behringer product. That's exactly what the vMix guys use for their vMix Funtime live show every month. That's exactly what the Streaming Idiots use for our weekly live show every month. What type of audio issues are you having? I mean, here, I don't mean to pick on you, but I will for just a second. I'm having audio issues. Is there something I'm doing wrong? Well, the answer to your question is yes. If you're having audio issues, there's something you're doing wrong. But until you provide any type of details at all, nobody's not going to be able to help you. Amnon, you have stolen that phrase from a dear good friend. So tell Mike you did that. Jan says, my colleagues keep glaring at my new streaming PC I'm currently preparing in the office. That's the 18-core monster, isn't it, Jan? Then I show them the vMix interface, and they're not impressed until I demo the functions. Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning as I was getting ready for this show, just making this place, getting beautiful. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to develop your own GUI for vMix and use the API to write scripts for everything and just make it do and look however you wanted it to. So there. We can start. Clint is here. Of course, he's rewinding, so now he's back at the beginning of the show. Aziz, have you ever used a laptop on any production using vMix? Yes. If yes, which one and which hardware did it have? I have used a Microsoft Surface Pro 6. Don't ever do that. I've used a Dell Inspiron 1521 dual core CPU. Don't ever do that. I've used an Asus ROG Republic of Gamers. That's a gaming machine, obviously. And that was a breeze. I did production and instant replay on that machine. Loved that PC. Sold it because I had plenty of PCs. But I loved that one. I might get another one just for the fun. But the trick to finding a laptop, I think, that works well with vMix is typically the specifications. Well, number one, you can go to the vMix website and check what they recommend. They have some specific brands and models that they'll suggest. But generically, anything that's a gaming laptop typically has the horsepower that vMix needs. It has the CPU, has the RAM, and it has the video card and solid state hard drive, and preferably a solid state second drive, and even preferably on top of that, a Thunderbolt port so that you can bring in multiple cameras over Thunderbolt using a Thunderbolt chassis that you put a capture card in. So yeah, the world opens up after that. The world opens up after that. What is Peter saying here? My goodness. Just a Threadripper with 32 cores and quad. Well, that would probably do. That would probably do. Fusion Plus. Plenty of noises. Well, Jan could be right. There was a time when I had clicks, ticks in my audio, and it was a USB port failing. In fact, it was the motherboard failing. All right, Ed says he's an optometrist, that encryption on lag-free stream would be awesome. Oh, an optimist. I really knew that was the case. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh, you had to get the little 12-core system. Couldn't get the 10980. You should have told me I've got an extra on the shelf. And a 3082i. Yeah, you'll probably have enough headroom on that system. There you go. Aziz Tim has posted the specs, excuse me, the brand and model number of the laptop that he uses for live streaming. And I think I had the GL751, which was older. Would be good if Martin made it so we had a variety of skins to choose from as a facelift for vMix. Well, you can change the background color. I agree. That may be the big killer 26 feature. Could be. Yep. And Tim is offering a little bit more advice and bragging on his PC. Yeah. All right. Ed has said, is anyone using HD TVI for repurposing long cable runs, or is there too much lag? I don't even know what HD TVI is. Holy cow. Help me on that one a little bit, Ed. All right, which capture card would you use to bring in multiple cameras on a laptop on one Thunderbolt port? Assuming it was Thunderbolt 3. There's Thunderbolt 1, 2, and 3, and 3 is faster than 2, and 2 is faster than 1. But Thunderbolt 3, the latest, greatest, is going to be... Let me respond to that real quick. You can use, I know for sure that a 4-port capture card would work, whether it was SDI or HDMI. SDI, Blackmagic makes the Decklink Duo 2 as a 4-port card, and actually some of the ports are bidirectional. Yuan makes a 4-port SDI card. Yuan makes an HDMI card. Blackmagic makes an HDMI card. So between those two brands, and the Magewell brands, of course, too, those 3 brands are good, reputable brands. There's some other stuff out there that's kind of clones or knockoffs. If I was doing anything professionally, somebody was paying me for, I wouldn't be using anything like that. So there is the answer that I would give you there. Thanks, Tim. It's Tom. Okay, what does John have to say? I know some have built HD TV transmitters from Raspberry Pis and USB-connected software-defined radios to distribute TV signals on old TV cables. There you go. I think that was in reference to Ed's question. Yep. Let's see, what have we got here? One thing to check here. Yeah. So, yeah, that about wraps it up. We're way over time here today. But it has been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. And the 22 questions for the year 2022, which really were only like, what, 11 questions. Oh my gosh. Oh, Tim is asking, let's see, let's take this last one. Tim is saying, how do you put a card on a laptop Thunderbolt port? Tim, there are devices called Thunderbolt chassis that are basically a box, a powered box that has a X16 slot in it that you put a capture card in, and you plug it in Thunderbolt, and away you go. And I'm humbled. It wasn't me all about. That's okay. My apologies, Aziz. HD TVI, HD CVI, and AHD are protocols used by CCTV manufacturers to repurpose HD signals over long cable runs. Thank you, Ed. Gotcha. I have taken just my teeny little 2 cents worth. Back in the standard definition days, standard definition cameras, and I was like, who needs HD? You know, if you need HD, you're just bragging. But we would take just, you know, I would say conventional, there's probably no such thing, but conventional coax cable like you'd use to run, you know, the old cable TV from the cable box to your house and to your TV. We would put different connectors on that and run our SD on that. And I remember at one point we were doing a lot of soccer, and I wanted to set up a camera behind the soccer goal, and we were playing soccer on the football fields, and so they were football goals at the end of the field, and then they put the soccer goals just inside that. And so I got permission and hung a camera there, and ran, I think, probably 350 feet of coax cable from that camera all the way back around the stadium and underneath and up the back into the press box for one. It wasn't even standard definition camera. It was like a 320 by 240 resolution. It was like half standard definition resolution. And occasionally, and it was an old camera because I knew it was going to get hit by a soccer ball sooner or later, and it did several times. It survived the season. But we called it the Gold Cam, GOAL, the Gold Cam, and sold a sponsorship on that for $1,000. And so it was I think the product was called the Life Stick, which is an idea for a USB drive that had all your medical information on it that you could carry around with you in case you needed it. So it was the Life Stick Gold Cam. And whenever there was a penalty, not a penalty shootout, but a shootout at the very end, kicks from the mark, as they would say, and you would have 5 shooters from each team alternating shooting at the goal. And that's just, you know, that's the ultimate high anxiety end to a game. And I knew a lot of the referees and the coaches. And so whenever there would be one of those games, I'd quickly run down on the field and meet with the refs and say, let's do it down there where the camera is. And they always would take it on down there. And it was really exciting. It's really a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It was good days. Good days. So what is Jan saying now? See if you can run 2 different socials and 2 different titles to a Q&A from chat. Can you do that? Can you open up 2 instances of vMix Social at the same time? You can. Oh my gosh. Does the second one have a different port? Yep. One of them's 8089 and the second one is 8090. Look at there. Look at there. Look at there. Look at there. I'll be danged. That's cool. I mean, it's unnecessary. But it would be fun. Yeah. We might try that. Ah, you're very kind. You're very kind. All right, Otis is getting into the furor right here at the very end. How much bandwidth per destination in the pipeline? Am I coming into the middle of something? If I missed something you've already said? But if you're talking about LiveLan, for example, per destination, it depends on what you choose to stream, what the bit rate you choose to stream at is. In my case, I'm doing LiveLan at 5 megabits per second, which means each receiver, each destination, each viewer is using 5 megabits per second of bandwidth, and I'm using 5 megabits per second. Well, I guess it's the same 5 megabits per second, isn't it? Yeah, never mind. Yeah. It doesn't double because of me, but yeah. So in fact, last week's show, we tested that a little bit to see what effect it had on the local area network and also what effect it had on the PC. And it had effect on both of them. Yep. Let's see what Peter is saying. Good scenario for LiveLan. Wi-Fi to a tablet of the referee. Could be. Again, there's a latency there of anywhere from 6 to plus seconds. I had latency, I think, of 12 seconds Wi-Fi to my tablet last week. It says a second vMix social could be used for a different language. It could. It could. Yeah, it opens up lots of different possibilities. I like that idea. That's neat. I like those kind of outside of the box thoughts. Obviously, vMix thought about it because they allowed it to use a second port. So there we go. Let's see, what have I missed back here? Have I missed anything? Blaze, I missed your comment earlier, if you're still around. He is watching from the Canary Islands off the Africa coast in Spain. So glad to have you. And he was watching over Facebook. We don't normally get the Facebook comments or views in here. And Gunnar was watching over Facebook way back at the very beginning. Let's see, who else might have been a Facebooker? Just checking through the vMix social in the web browser. And Rich Ignacio is using our chat to ask Ken to lunch. Has he asked me to lunch? No. Don't think that's fair. I mean, really. Come on, Rich. Get with it. And Ken was good morning from Northern California. Yes. All righty. Good. Glad to have you guys watching. And Facebook gives us a little variety. There we go. Michael Graves, you're a year late. No, I'd be interested in your thoughts on some of the questions that we asked about 2022. It'll be fun. We can have a chat in Facebook maybe on that. Anyway, guys, got to run. Got to put together some more PCs for some happy folks, and I will catch y'all next week. Catch you next week. Next week will be the last show for a couple of weeks. I'm having a knee replacement, a surgery to replace my knee with titanium a week from Monday. So next week will be the last time I'm on my feet for a little while. So we'll take a little hiatus, and probably be a couple of weeks before I'm to the point where I can do another show, I think. But I'll make sure that there are posts there. Oh, also, if you're interested, or if you know somebody's interested, we'll pick up our vMix 101 classes in February. We'll have that posted on our website. Anyway, got to run. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you. When will we see you? We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.